So I think that there's a convergence of factors. I think that some of the motivation has to do with uncertainty in other domains where you might invest capital. So there's a lot of turbulence in the stock market, a lot of turbulence in industries like high tech, and so people who have a lot of capital to invest are not finding great opportunities in the stock market, and so that's one factor. Another factor is that some of a lot of the investment is coming from governments or from large funds, some from private companies, some from private individuals, but mostly from governments. And some of them are being driven by concerns about food security. So I think that in the case of maybe Gulf states in particular, they're saying, well, one way we know that their public statements have been made, we know that one way to assure food security is to invest in some of the unused land in Africa. I think that people are thinking that land might be a good investment because it's relatively cheap right now, and it's a platform for not just food production, but also energy production. And about 10 or 15% of land that's being acquired is being acquired for the purpose of biofuel production, most of it for food production though. So uncertainty in the market, worries about food security and water security, the cost of land, the cheap cost of land, all of these things, and the fact that there's still large pools of capital available looking for an investment are all combining to make purchases and leases of land, of large tracts of land, attractive. Now, I think that what we're discovering is that a lot of these land deals, the strategies that they're incorporating to manage risk raise concerns about what the impacts might be on local communities and on natural capital, on biological diversity in these areas. So there's some legitimate concerns about that. The other thing is that it turns out that acquiring a large piece of land does not translate instantly into high yields of food or fuel. Land is a difficult thing to manage regardless of everything else, especially under a world where you've got climate stresses and so on. So the investors are looking for looking for models of risk management which are likely to be the most robust over 30, 50-year timeframes. And what we're trying to argue is that those models need to integrate concerns for ecosystem integrity, biological diversity, human security, local community, as much as they do concerns about transfer capability and sovereignty and reputational risk and those traditional things that people look at when they're making an investment. Mm-hmm. There's lots of legitimate concerns about linking environment and security, no doubt about it. The research making this linkage has lots of areas of dispute. At the same time, at the end of the Cold War, at the time when the IPCC reports and the Rio summit were shaping a lot of discussions around the world, there was a unique opening, which many people thought as an opening that would have long-term consequences to rethink what security in the post-Cold War era would be. Now, the environmental community had a choice and was divided. Some people said, that's a debate that we're not going to participate in because it's about security. And other people said, that's a debate that we cannot ignore because it will have long-term implications. My own position was we had to be part of that. We had to say there are concerns about the impact of military activity and economic activity on the environment. And however we think about the future of welfare and well-being and security of the planet, the environmental dimension needs to be part of that thinking. Was it a good choice? I think Clinton and Gore were receptive to it and tried to figure out what would this mean institutionally. What does this mean in terms of how we allocate security funding? Do we put more in development? Do we change the nature of our military investments? I think these were healthy discussions to have. Did they have all the benefits that we would like to see as environmentalists? Of course not. Nor did they for any other group that was trying to shape that moment in history. So every group could walk away saying, I'm a bit frustrated by the outcomes. The second case where human security and peace building moved up onto the UN agenda, also at the same time, created arguably another opportunity to ask the question, should environmental concerns be part of this discussion about human security and peace building? And my feeling was, yes, this was a valuable discussion to be part of. Were we going to shape it? No. We were there with people worried about child soldiers and the people worried about landmines and the people worried about unexploded ordnance and a whole lot of other concerns. Was it useful to be part of that? Did it give us some entry into the sort of the mainstream activities of the UN, security and development? I think it did. Did people take full advantage of those entry points? I don't think they have yet, but I don't think the story has ended either.